Mr. Transformers 96 here. So in the video I'm going to talk about a newly shown item, and this time it's going to be from Iron Studios. I'm going to be talking about two of their newly shown items, which is the Pepper Potts Rescue Armor, as well as Scarlet Witch, both from Avengers Endgame. So this is quite cool. So now I haven't made too many videos about Iron Studios before. However, I have made a couple of videos about them before, just because a couple of their products have really caught my eye. Their Endgame line is really catching my eye, though. I'm really enjoying the products that they're coming out with for Endgame. And so much so that I've pre-ordered, I pre-ordered one and then just purchased an in-stock one today. So I did purchase my first two Iron Studios statues. I don't know how aggressively I'm going to be collecting them. It's definitely going to be, it's going to depend on how I like the ones that I get. But I did order Hela. I was able to get Hela for a decent price just on Iron Studios' website. They offer discounts, so they had that figure on a bit of a sale already, and then I got $15 off of it. So I got it for a little under $100, and that shipped with shipping, which was quite nice. And then the other one that I ordered was the one that really caught my eye last year, and that's Cole Obsidian. So I've been wanting him, but what made me pull the trigger on him is that they announced today, or at least the time of filming this, that they are doing Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, and Proxima Midnight. So that's when I pulled the trigger on him. So we'll see how aggressively I collect this series. Obviously, it depends on the characters they do, how the statues look, and then how the quality is in person once I start to get them. But I'm very interested in getting the whole Black Order. The Outrider statue that they did looks great. I'm really wanting Mysterio, of course. I'd love to get Vulture. Unfortunately, I can't get Vulture for his original retail price, so I'm going to hold out on him. But yeah, let's talk about these two, though, the ones that I want to talk about. Scarlet Witch and Rescue, of course. Both of these look quite nice. Starting off with Rescue, though, I do like the design of this figure. Here's the thing. Iron Studios, sometimes they just have incredible poses, and sometimes they have okay poses. They never really have bad ones, to be honest. But this one I would very much consider okay. I think that the pose itself is a little weak. I think that they could have definitely done something stronger. I do like the fact that she does come with an interchangeable head to kind of showcase Pepper Potts underneath. Now, the face sculpts of, like, the human face sculpts they do are good. They're not amazing. They're obviously not Hot Toys quality, but they're good. And don't forget that this is a smaller scale. This, if I'm not mistaken, is about the scale of like a Diamond Select. They're bigger than Legends, of course, quite a bit smaller than Hot Toys, though, because they are done in a 1 in 10 scale. And Legends are 1 in 12, and Hot Toys are 1 in 6. So they're in between the two of them, closer to Legends than Hot Toys, though, size-wise. So the head sculpts, I think, look pretty decent. I've never seen one that just looks terrible, but they're never perfect. I think the Captain America for Infinity War is probably my least favorite head sculpt I've seen from them. But overall, this one looks okay. Obviously, they don't need to show a ton of it, but from what we can see of it, it's a decent sculpt. It's not fantastic, though, but it's alright. Do like the coloring of the suit, though. The silver kind of goldish look against the metallic blue looks really nice. Get some cool shots of Iron Man in the background. This is a cool shot because it's kind of their female statues from Endgame to kind of represent that kind of A-Force. They did announce today that they are doing a Black Widow one. It's just pending licensing approval. And the other one that they announced with that was Red Skull, so that's exciting. Red Skull, I don't know if I get Red Skull, but I might consider it. But as you can see, face sculpt looks decent. Now, I don't know, because I don't own any of these yet, but I don't know how close the prototype images are to the official or to the actual in-person of the statues themselves, so possibly quality drops a bit. From what I've seen, though, I watched some reviews of Hela, and the Hela head sculpt looks pretty good in person, so I don't think that like the quality really drops, but it is possible. Do like the helmeted look, though. And then the paneling on the back open is cool. But again, I think that the pose is just weak. It's kind of your standard flying pose. It has a nice posture, but it doesn't have like a great pose. And then the base is all right. You kind of get that rock formation, and then the thrusters coming out of her foot. That's blowing some of the rocks away. I think is cool. But again, I think that they could have gone more extreme. What I would have liked to seen is something similar to her back-to-back pose with the Mark 85, where she is kind of hovering like this, but her arms are kind of more down to her sides with her fists out, and then having like the paneling from her back that kind of splits out around her and shoots the lasers. I think that would have made for a much cooler pose, something just really interesting. So I'm a little disappointed in the pose that they did choose. As you can see, here's some of the dimensions. It's about 10 inches tall, which is decent. Obviously, a couple inches shorter than a Hot Toys figure, your standard Hot Toys figure, and it weighs a little bit less than a pound. I do like the way that they do this. I like to see it like compared to an actual person, and then getting like the specifications of it is pretty neat too. So I am a fan that they do that. And then the next one is Scarlet Witch. This is a much better one in my opinion. I like the pose a bit more. And the reason that I buy statues, because I don't collect statues very often, but when I do buy a statue, it is for the pose, because 9 times out of 10 I can get a figure of it, and I prefer a figure. But if I want a statue to have it express something that I can't make the figure express, and that's an like extreme pose, especially a pose that reacts to the environment too, and that's definitely why I'd be collecting Iron Studios. And I love the pose for a lot of their figures. That new Spider-Man one from Endgame looks great pose-wise. It's like wrapping up an Outrider. It looks super cool. When they do the official images, I'll probably make a video talking about that one. But as you can see, Scarlet Witch looks pretty decent. Head sculpt-wise, I think looks quite nice. I think it looks better than the Pepper Potts one. It looks a little bit more like Elizabeth Olsen than Pepper Potts looked like Gwyneth Paltrow. But I do think that it's pretty good. It's nice. Again, it's a smaller scale, and they're cheaper than Hot Toys, so you don't expect the Hot Toys quality, face sculpt-wise. But it's decent. I think for what you're paying and for the size of it, it is exactly what it should be, if not a little bit better, actually. I do like the kind of effect pieces on her hands. It really looks like she's pushing forward, and almost like her hands are pushing through the effect pieces, because she's throwing like the rocks from the base out. I love the fact that her environment piece base is like being overtaken with her energy, and so much so that the energy is throwing rocks forward. I think it's really nice. And then her kind of I don't want to call it cape, but her jacket is kind of like flowing behind her. Really nicely done. This is the type of thing that you can't get with a figure, which is why I think that this is just such a nice piece. I really do like it. Beautiful, really. I love the way that the energy is swirling. You can really see her pushing forward, which is quite nice. Super cool. Loving it. Great idea for a pose or a kind of environment for a Scarlet Witch figure. Looks really nice. Alright, her dimensions, she is a little bit shorter, of course, because, Rescue is flying. She's about 8 inches tall, and she's a little bit over a pound, so you actually get a little bit more weight with this figure, which makes sense. Her base is a lot more involved. There's just a lot more going on with this figure. So as far as the two are concerned, they're priced about the same. Now, I'd noticed that Big Bad Toy Store seems to price these over what Iron Studios prices them at, which is kind of odd. Usually Big Bad Toy Store has pretty good prices, but these are both retailing for $110. You can pre-order them now on Iron Studios' website for $110, and I think that that's a solid price. I like the pricing for Iron Studios, assuming that they don't like increase their prices. I think that their pricing is pretty fair. Anything lower and it would be quite a steal. Anything higher and it would be a little bit overpriced. So I do like their pricing scale, I must say. Out of these two statues, I think Rescue is okay. I would get it if you really collect Iron Studios, that's your main thing, and you want Rescue in your collection, then that's a nice one for you. But I think that they dropped the ball pose-wise. I think there could be a lot more going on with that figure, and, unfortunately they kind of took the safe route. I mean, like, you can get that pose with a Hot Toys figure. Now, the Scarlet Witch one, I think, is very unique to a statue. I love the pose itself. I think you can really see the action happening, and there's a lot happening there, and they've incorporated her base quite a bit in that action, which is really nice. So overall, I think Scarlet Witch is definitely by far the best out of these two, but they're both nice, and they are a decent price in my opinion. Do I plan to get them? No. I'm going to be pretty picky with these statues now, assuming that I really like them and I start collecting them like fully. I'll definitely be picky and probably just get villains. Again, like I said, Cole Obsidian and Hela I've already purchased. I'd like to get the other 3 Black Order members, assuming that they look good and they're priced fairly. And then Mysterio, I think Mysterio is going to be a must-have. Unless they drop the ball with Mysterio and kind of do like a rescue-style pose for him. Assuming that he has like action like Scarlet Witch has, I'd be all over a Mysterio statue. But yeah, there's my thoughts on these 2 new Iron Studios statues, being Scarlet Witch and the Pepper Potts rescue suit. Let me know what you guys think of these two, and thanks so much for watching.